Today's AMA. Welcome everyone. Um, yes, as we all know, we have Puke here today. Let's have a warm welcome to Puke. Yay! GM, guys. GM.
GM.
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna ask Puke a few questions so we can all understand what Pukecast is. But like, feel free before we start, feel free to just comment any questions you have down there or anything, because Puke here is here to just answer every question that you guys are gonna throw to him. So, right, welcome
Guys,
Puke
guys, please,
Rainbow.
please have some mercy on me. Not every question. Don't grill me. Hopefully, it's easy questions so I get off the hook. All right.
Okay, we'll try to be nice to you, Puke. Okay, we'll try our best to be nice. Okay, so hi Puke. Can you please tell us a little bit about what Pukecast is about and also why Puke?
All right, got it. So, damn, this story I know is not something awesome, but so my first time coming into Web3 or even the crypto scene is because somebody, just gave me an NFT to mint, and so happened that NFT was a doodles, and during that time, NFT was super hot, right? So everybody was like, hey, if you mint this, you definitely make money, 10x, 20x. So I minted it, and then when I'm just looking at what are some of the valuable NFT that is out there, I realized that hey, this PFP has this trait called rainbow puking. And my friend said, hey, all you gotta do is mint the NFT. There's two things you need to do: create a Twitter page, create a Discord. And so using that whole thread, which is rainbow puking, I just switch it over to puke rainbow. That is it. There's no fancy story behind it. And fast forward, I was wanting to do like podcasting during the time. Um, I'm in Web3. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to network. And I realized that the easiest way for you to network is like, hey, you invite someone to come over to your podcast and just, using maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour to just talk about it. And so I write out a tweet as like, guys, if I am creating a podcast, what should I call the podcast? And somebody mentioned Pukecast, and that is it. Pukecast is formed.
Yeah, I gotta give that guy a credit because Pukecast is definitely a really special and unique name, and also it suits your profile picture at the same time. It was Puking Rainbow, right? So I think that's a really really fun and interesting way that how Pukecast is formed. Right. So throughout your journey of Pewcast, can you tell? Okay, maybe the users in the chat room here might not understand completely what Pewcast does. Maybe can you explain a little bit what does Pewcast do?
Yeah, for sure. So, simple term, what Precast do is we are the new wave of, I would say, media. So if you look at, traditional media, for example, Forbes magazine, or Cointelegraph or Decrypt, like these are all traditional news sources of where people get their information, right? Meaning that you wake up, you open your newspaper, you read the news, and that's it. But oftentimes, all of this news is a little bit outdated, right? Because the news happened, people need to study about it, they need to write it, they need to publish it, and when you get the, I would say, the source of information, it has already passed maybe 48 hours. Well, in web 2 or in our daily life, it doesn't matter because like those information do not need fast processing time. But then in web 3, everything is fast. Like you are late 30 minutes of the Trump coin, and you buy it, maybe you got wrecked, right? So the whole idea of Pukecast, we are the new wave of what I call degen media, meaning that every information is fast, it's accurate, it's on the point. So if like, for example, what's happening today, all you got to do is tune into Pukecast. You already know all of the news that is happening right on that time, I would say real time. So this is the core idea of why Pukecast is formed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because like I think this having you on our AMA today is perfect because as we have a lot of content creators on our side as well, a lot of hosts as well on our side as well. I think it's a perfect time and opportunity for us to also learn about being a content creator and also make staying up to date with the news, everything within the Web3 space. So maybe can you share some moments or perhaps some strategy of how do you actually keep up with what's going on within Web3? Because you have to be creating content on the go all the time, right? You cannot be waiting, like you say, 30 minutes within the Trump coin could be super late in already. How do you keep up to that?
Yeah, I think honestly, this is surrendering your hours solely onto Twitter, right? So every time that I have free time, I'm just on my phone scrolling Twitter, checking out what's happening, reading it, and then also following. I would say the identifying the top people in the industry, and see what they are posting. So one good thing that I've been doing ever since I started this whole journey is to have like a list, right? So if you go onto Twitter, there's groups, there's also a list. List is whereby you can categorize people into, I would say, what you want them to categorize on, right? So for example, if just say now you go and handpick top maybe 50 or 80 or 100 KOLs that you like, you can actually create a list without their permission, okay? Add them into this list. And once they are added into the list, all you got to do is, go onto Twitter, click on the list. You can scroll and see everything that they have been posting onto their Twitter. So every day, before you go over to your regular Twitter timeline, you go on to the list first, and then you check out this 100 KOLs or 150, or or it could be 30, right? Check out what they are posting, and then when you read, you interact with them, the algorithm will kind of like push all of these similar news onto your feed. So I think like this is to kickstart, everybody say, hey, there's so many news out there. How come you always got the first tips of information? I think it's really to identify like who are the content creators that you like, whether the content is relevant, write them down, put them into a list, and then keep on following, and also become a reply guy, right? Like their comment, re- uh, maybe retweet if you like it, put a comment under their post, and then you get that flywheel of like every day, you are engaging with this top, I would say, 100 content creators out there, and all of a sudden you realize that, hey, when you churn out content, these people also engage back with you.
Okay, so you mentioned about them engaging back with you, right? How do you actually get these people's attention? Because you mentioned that they are like pretty, um, influential people within the space. How do you get their attention to actually, respond back to you?
Yeah, so I think it's really easy to get response, depending on the
Mm.
level of what kind of content creator they are. So obviously, when you are in Web3, there's like I would say tier one, tier two, tier three, right? So tier three are people that wanting to start off their content creator journey. You have tier two, whereby people they are on the rise and they are trying to do not bad, right? And then you have
Yeah.
tier one, which is people that's already on top. So for tier three, usually you can easily get reply. For example, when they post, a GM post, or you comment on their GM, they will comment on your GM. So it's simple like that. Tier two, you need a little bit more funny, I would say funny, engaging content. So something that they post, you can actually comment something short, that get their attention, right? And then for tier three, which is sorry, tier one, which is the hardest, like they are the top level. Every insight that you give, you need to sound really, really smart. So there's so many tools out there, right? ChatGPT, there's Perplexity, there's DeepSeek. You can actually write your comments, put on it, and then try to edit it back, to your style, and then comment it. So once they see that, hey, this person is not just spamming or hiring a reply guy to reply, but they have insightful insights, and they will reply back to you. So one key crucial thing is your whole feed, you cannot be just retweeting people's stuff and not putting out your own original content. So you also need to bookmark, for example, this 150 KOLs that's on the list. You bookmark them and see, okay, which are the influencers or the posts that you like. You can actually copy that link, put it on ChatGPT, ask them to, return something similar, and then based off that, you post for yourself as well.
Yeah, I guess you mentioned something quite a take here for us is, we have to be our authentic self, not to just be like a reply guy trying to get attention and stuff like that. Not no origin, no personality, I would say, instead of just trying to be out there just spamming and getting attention. Right. So we have a question from JC here. Do you use any other tool for keeping up with this list aside from just Twitter itself?
Yeah, so for this is a little we have a tool that we link it to our own, I would say, team used Discord, right? So these are tools that everything that we okay, so there's level one is to follow the content creators that's talking about a certain stuff, right? Level two for me is to keep track on the announcement of all of these different platforms. So for example, if just say right now you look at the market, what are people talking about? I think 3 weeks ago people are talking about Kaito, right? But now Kaito, I would say 50-50 because they already done their TGE. There's nothing much to be done anymore, right? So Kaito is already old news. If you're talking about Kaito now, you probably won't get the good traction. And then we have after Kaito, we have ethos, right? So ethos is basically you know people writing out your social credibility, and then you can slash this is 1 week ago news. So if you're posting now, you don't get any traction, right? But these are all, I would say, projects that is very up to date and people want to know what is happening. So what I do is I will have the list to keep what is the content creator doing. The second step is all of these I would say projects, I actually link it back to a bot on Discord. So anytime that this project posted something, the Discord bot will ping me, and I know that what is the next announcement or the next step for all of these different projects. So there's two ways to do it. I think for KOLs, keeping a list is fine because KOLs sometimes they talk a lot of nonsense. So you don't want your Discord bot to keep on ping you. I think it's better to just have it on Twitter so that you can just doom scroll if there is no information out there. But then you have, for example, a list of just say 15 projects that you are keeping in touch and you don't want to get missed out. Using a Discord bot to then ping you every time that this project make an announcement. That is very crucial for you to be ahead of the game.
Right. So yeah, another question from Aries. How long do you spend doom scrolling on Twitter? I think that's a really good question. Yeah.
I just replied 8 hours.
Oh shit. Every day?
That's
Oh
a
gosh.
full-time job.
Oh,
uh,
I mean, yeah. That.
well, guys. Okay, just to give you a little bit context, right? I wake up,
Uh-huh.
I scroll Twitter. When I'm having my calls, I'm scrolling Twitter. When I'm doing so, one day I do 3 hours of spaces. I'm also scrolling Twitter.
Are you scrolling
So
Twitter now?
no, no, now no, because I'm not on my PC. I'm not scrolling. But if I'm on my PC, I will be scrolling. And trust me, I've been seeing over and over again about like what is happening on the space. So yeah.
Oh my god, the level of multitasking, I just cannot. But like guys, this is what you gotta do for the grind. 8 hours of Twitter every day. Nothing lesser, just more. Okay. If you want to be better, you gotta do more than 8 hours. That's it. Compute
That's
it.
Yeah.
it.
When you're eating, you scroll Twitter. When you are waiting for your food to come, when you're on toilet, usually I take 30 minutes. Why? Because like 10 minutes I'm done, but 20 minutes I'm scrolling my Twitter, right? So when you're waiting for your friend, when you're waiting for your Uber, you scroll Twitter. When you're showering halfway, you scroll your Twitter. At any time, any place.
Oh my
Just do it,
god.
guys.
Yes, that's the way to do it, Jay. Right hand eating, left hand scrolling. And Eris is definitely on track now. She's already scrolling Twitter. Well, thank you, Pew, for the advice. I should probably be scrolling Twitter right now as I'm
Yeah.
hosting. But
Nah, 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 nah. You gotta be focused. You gotta be focused. Come on, guys.
yeah, I probably can't multitask as good as you. So right, yeah. Let's move on to the next question. I think I'm really curious in understanding how do you identify your target audience within the Web3 space? Because like I know that you be creating content, yes, keeping up with all the latest news and stuff like that. But how do you identify your target audience within the space? And also, what are the strategies do you use to engage with them?
I think ultimately, like, I was just discussing this with one guy from Dina just now, right? And he's
Mm.
like, how long have you been building your community? And he's like, "It's like 3 years." And he said 3 years is very long because usually like people that build community maybe 6 months. the community lose interest. Maybe 3 months, community was all happening, and then after that they just go out. So I think like if the community is just about alpha, there's not gonna be one group that's gonna have the best alpha, right? And so then you will always lose out people, and not having like a great funnel to come in is always hard. So in Web3, anything is driven by profit. So you got to know like what is the next narrative. So from doom scrolling Twitter 8 hours a day, you identify like what are some of the hot stuff, right? So for example, for us, every Wednesday we talk about NFTs on Ape Chain. Why? Because NFTs is not making it. A lot of NFT, after the mint, they die out. But on Ape Chain, majority of the NFT, or say 80% of the NFT, is above floor price, like 2 to 3x. So this is something that, hey, if I didn't tell you, and if you are not tuning on to Pukecast, you will miss out the opportunities. So that is one. The second one is, games on Kaya, for example. They just launched in 1 month, and in 1 month they managed to gather 3 million users, and a total of like 2 million people are paying in-app purchase to play the game. So like these are all, I would say, things that we need to identify what is good. And then now when we identify this, we need to make sure that okay, the community knows, and we drive the community towards this narrative. So in-house we have 3 researchers that research day in day out on what are the next project, what is a good narrative, what are the next L1 that's gonna go TGE, what is the next projects that people gonna be hype about. That is on the online side of things. On the offline side of things, then you need to do community meetup, right? So like 1 year we host about like 15 events. We did one last week in Vietnam. 3 weeks
Mhm.
ago we did one in Hong Kong. So it's like a pairing of like people have fun going on alpha, meeting one another, and then when it's dull season, people online they get alpha on what's happening and stuff. So it's not easy, but I think it's just understanding the market, knowing what's happening, and then leading into it.
Yes, so many questions right now I would like to throw to you, but let's go to JC's question first. Please explain what alpha is to the audience.
Yeah, so alpha is just opportunity to make money. That's it. So it's like, for
Right.
example, people say, hey, I'm sharing this alpha to you. Like guys, a lot of people misuse alpha. Sometimes alpha is not alpha at all. It's actually liquidity. But usually when someone say, hey, I have this alpha, is I would say early access to opportunities that is making money. Whether it's 100%, whether it's 50%, I don't know, depending on how strong the alpha is. But the stronger the alpha, the better the community like it, the more happy people become, and that's it.
Right. I mean, like, I guess it's Web3, right? Everyone's here for the money and every opportunity to make more money. So if you get to provide alpha, that's the best way to go, right? So you mentioned about like community meetup, like you guys do 15 community meetup like every year. So how important do you think, while you're building a community within Web3, how important do you think meetups are?
I think meetup is very important, but you gotta know like what is the meetup for. So like for example, a lot of people I see they like to do, for example, club meetup.
Mm,
You need to know, okay, is it for branding, is it for networking, is it for meeting the VCs? So like you need to know, like for us we will not do a club meetup because there's not much branding that we want to push, but more we want to have or foster one-on-one discussion with our community member. So usually what we do is, for us we do like dinner with networking, not serious dinner like sit down everybody has a place and then talk. But for us, it's like casual dinner with like happy hour drinks, right? So people can talk, they can network, we can stand up, we can drink, we can get happy. But then some people, the projects, maybe they want to talk to all of like the different VCs. So you
mm.
have then like a serious 20 people sit down, talking to different people, meeting VC, a more serious talk. So it really depends on what you want. Or maybe it's like, for example, meme coin, right? So meme coin is not about networking. It's about going crazy, right? So if you want to go crazy, then definitely book a club and just hire the hottest DJ and just make it wow as fuck. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Different projects, different culture, and different way to go about with offline meetup and stuff like that. So, like back to um Qcast itself. So, after creating so many contents, I'm pretty sure you have tried exploring many different type of content. Which type of content do you think have been worked out best for Qcast? For example, podcasts, blogs, videos, maybe even writing threads. So for like, maybe my question is just like, for a Web3 project, which content would work best?
I think it's the depends on the narrative, right? So like 3 years ago when I started podcasts, Twitter Spaces was so hot. Like every time when I go on to Spaces, I do like daily Spaces, right? So it's just daily Spaces. There's no topic. We will have like 5 different hosts coming in, like a regular cast, and we just look at the news. We scroll on Twitter, and then we just say like, holy shit, this is happening right now. Go buy it. Or I got rock. It's stuff like that, right? So during that time, like just easily doing Twitter Spaces, you get about like 500, 600 people. These days, people don't join Spaces for fun. It has to be, are you giving out the hottest whitelist? Are you giving out, some sort of like great alpha? Then people join. So it slowly moved on from Twitter Spaces to thread writing. I think last bear market, thread writing was very important. So some of the great thread writers like Zeneca, like Will Sush. These are all or Yellow Panther. These are all like KOLs that came out from thread writing, right? Because they did their deep research every day. They create like a thread of like a series of like 20 posts and just highlighting, create different types of graphic, telling people what is happening in the space. Because during bear market, everybody needs education on knowing what's happening. Right now, I think like threads has been dying because nobody wants to read thread. So I think like video content or like funny skits are something that is been trending. So if you look at KOLs like Star Platinum or Ashley D. Ken, this or even Mika, they are doing more video content because now video content and funny skits are getting the best traction on Twitter.
Actually, that's really true. For me, scrolling Twitter itself, I've been seeing more video content compared to how it was last time. It was more on thread. But this very much applies to a lot of KOLs, how they would be creating content. How about project itself? Do you think it also applies to project when they are trying to create better content, to get more traction out there? Do you think video applies?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you look at I would say last year, right? Or even 1.5 year ago, projects just have to invest in like a crazy trailer. And
Mm.
then people are throwing money into the project because like the trailer is like so awesome, right? But now if you do that trailer, everybody's like, they don't have real, I would say, software or real products. It's the same thing like 2 years ago when a gaming project comes in, they don't have to showcase the game. They just showcase a trailer of the gameplay, and people are already putting money in. And then after mint, people realize, holy shit, there is actually no game. Now
Mm.
it's like, all right, you are saying that you build a game, you gotta let me try the game first. And if there is no bugs and the game is fun, maybe I will consider it. So people are, I would say, getting more mature in terms of how you're looking at. So like
Mm.
projects need to be, I would say, creative in terms of creating viral videos or even content, right? So like just looking at, for example, Play Friends, how many
Mm.
hosts is there? The host can create, reels, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram. There's so many stuff that people can do. And like one thing I realized that works very well is Cameo, right? So like you look at
Mm.
the Cameo boom last cycle, where all of the different, I would say, funny figure or even artists, they go on to Cameo. People pay like $50, and then you could say like, "Hey, happy birthday to so and so." And then if you go on Instagram, you see like these people from Africa that they will say, "Hey, happy birthday." They dance, they print your picture, and then they kiss on it. So like there's so many content. So just imagine like if you guys have the Cameo, people pay the host to do this kind of like content and stuff. It's also one way to market the product, right?
Yeah, no, that's actually really true. So, Maybe a question that I'm really curious about how QCAS actually stay, like for example that you mentioned you've been building for 3 years, right? So how do you keep people, make sure people are always, engaged with your content, making sure your community as you're growing. I mean, I do know that you do offline activation and stuff like that, but like what is the thing that you make sure that the niche that you're building for them is actually on track, and then you don't lose them and keep them um, together, and at the same time building it as well.
So the honest answer is like people come and people go, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
There's no one sure way to keep them because it's always about, hey, we did not get this alpha for them, but then another project got it or another group got it, and then they just flow over to that group. So I think
Yep.
like I don't really care too much in terms of like how we retain them. What I care more is like the quality of us producing the content, right? So end of the day, like a lot of like groups has gone, but why till now we are still here? Because we don't really chase like the hype. For us is more towards fundamentals. We need to do our proper research and make sure that every piece of content is not just shilling a token. Like last cycle or even last year, there's so many, I would say, good communities that all of a sudden they just go or crash down because like they shield the wrong token, the wrong
Mm.
meme coins, and then all of a sudden community just gone bad. So like if you look at our content, we don't shield meme coins, we don't really shield any token. For us it's more about education. So it's always I won't tell you, hey, you gotta go buy this, right? It's not like, hey, go buy Bera token, go buy Kaya token. For me is, okay, this is what Bera is doing, this is what Kaya is doing, these are the stats. And so if you go and play now, you might have the opportunity to get the airdrop. What is it? I don't know, but this is just an opportunity that you need to take a look at.
Yes, at the end of the day, it's DYOR, right or not? So we always want them to do the research before taking any action instead of you making, the decision for them. I think that's a really smart way. So,
In Pukecast, we don't say DYOR. We say whatever we give is financial advice.
okay, financial advice. Love that.
No NFA, no DYOR. We only give financial advice. That's it. But we don't ask you to buy
Okay.
tokens. So that's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like that's the safest way to go. I actually agree with that. So yeah, like with Eris asking a question here, I think she's asked a really good question. How can you spot spam? Because with all the hype projects within Twitter right now or in the past, they have been scam, even though as hype they could be. But like, how do you spot them?
Yeah, so I think one easy way to spot them is look at how much mutuals they have. So like a lot of projects is like 100K, but then when I look at the mutuals, they only have like 20 people that I know is following them, and those 20 people aren't like the top names in the industry. Then all of a sudden you are right, then this is not a good project, right? Because a good project, definitely all the top people in the space is already following. So that's just like a very casual rule that I see. Like if you don't have mutuals, like maybe 100 or 200, I'm like, are you really legit? I don't know. If my friend don't know you, then why should I know you, right?
Yeah, to be fair, I think the mutuals is really important because like if the space isn't that big as well, if you're out of you just came out of nowhere and no one actually knows you, but you have like thousand, 100,000 over followers, I'll probably suss you out as well. So like yeah, guys, that's one of a really good suggestion and advice from Puke. You guys can actually try your best to spot, a project, go to project first before you actually simply click on it. Oh yeah, talking about this, I feel like I should also share this piece of advice as well. Within Twitter, try not to click onto any link just because sometimes that could be a phishing link. Yeah, okay. Another question. As a new player, how do I introduce myself to the old dogs? Yeah, I guess this is a very good question as well because within this lobby itself, we have a lot of users, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our hosts and users would love to be trying their best to be on Web3, but a lot of them don't know how to do so. So, yeah, how do you introduce yourself as a newbie to the old dogs?
Yeah, just honestly just become a reply guy. Like go and create your own list, reply to these people every day, and then create your own original content. And you can also create content about them. So like if you look at this guy I've known him since 2 years ago during my Polygon days, right? So his name is Star Platinum, right? I do love his content a lot because so STAR and Platinum, right? So he has been grinding day in day out, trying out different content until one day the content hits. So what content he do is totally very unique. He do not talk about Web3 alpha, but he deep dive in that person. So he will be like, for example, just say Mario Nafal. This guy is a scammer and what he do. So he will go behind the scene, write about, this guy since young, what he did, where he went, his journey, and what he did in the Web3 space, and why he is the biggest scammer. And this sort of content takes hours and hours of creating, but I think
Mm.
1 week he churned out like maybe 2 to 3 types of like content. So then it hits for him. So then now, people in the space, people like call outs. People like, hey, this guy just make 100K. He's like, oh, this guy rock 1 mil. And if you have a detailed thread about what went wrong in the space, people love. So that content works out for him. But when he started out, he was just a reply guy. Same format, Twitter list, replying to the 150 people. I reply to him, he replied to me, and he figured out that his way of content is just writing about different people.
Would you say it's transparency that works here?
Transparency, I think like people just love all this drama, right? I call it like city drama. So like
Mm.
if you look at um if you look at the space right now, like even ethos, why it's hype? Because there's this function called slashing. So I can just go onto ethos and I slash, I said like, hey, maybe so and so is a bad guy, and then people can vote on it. So like people love this kind of like CT drama.
Yeah. No, that's actually fair. So one more question from JC. What do you think about all these AI agent Twitter accounts?
I think AI agents has have their run, because like maybe 2 months ago, virtual was hype, AI agents was good, because it's unique, it's funny, and when an AI agent calls something wrong, nobody would bash on him because it's like, oh, it's not a real human, the agent did not want to scam and stuff like that. But end of the day, all of this AI agent was just chatbot, right? And so right now the narrative of AI agent is dying because there is no more new innovative style of using AI agents. So the next innovative style of AI agent is actually Kaito, right? So it's using
Mm.
AI agent to analyze who are the top yappers in the space. So then now you provide a utility for the AI agent and then you package it into a product. So now that's why that product works. But if you look at AI XBT, you look at all of these different AI agents, you look at virtual, you look at Luna, price are down because it haven't found that I would say the real use case for this type of products.
Yeah. Would you say because since we mentioned about Kaito, all this kind of yapping strategy, would you say for projects that want to get get lights, get more eyeballs on them, more attention to them, would you say this kind of route is always suitable for any projects, like the yapping strategy and Kaito
Yeah.
style?
So I always believe like early adopters, right? Like for example, if uh, a a particular chain launch, just say NFTs on Bera, the first five, because the Bera chain is hype, the first five will do good. But after the first five, the traction will drop depending on how good the first five is, right?
Yeah.
So the first five will have the first mover advantage because Bera chain is hype. So same like Kaito. Kaito was hype. So like who benefit from it? Abstract benefited from it. Anime chain benefited from it. And then now the next one, the hype one will be zero G. But Pengu is down 70%, anime is down 80%. And so like the first mover advantage, they benefit from it, but they aren't doing well. So like now if you adopt it and you pay, like Kaito is not cheap, guys. It's like 200K to be on top of it if your project isn't hype, right?
Mm.
But then the traction is already dying down. So you need to find the next hype tool to kind of promote it.
Right. I guess my next question is, how do you spot what's the next hype is? Because I don't think we know what the next thing is, right? But like, how do you spot it?
Yeah, so you could spot it. Like a lot of people are still using Kaito. They are
Mm.
seeing what project is going on TGE. So like if you are still bullish, I think ultimately is what are you confident in terms of narrative, right? So right now everybody all eyes is on zero G because zero G is another L1 and it's a L1 for AI. So then now, everybody all eyes on it. Or, if you're bullish on gaming, Maple Story and an old, I would say, title is going TGE soon as well. So everybody's bullish on it. So it really depends on like I think your personal preference, what kind of narrative you like. If you're like somebody who's AI, then maybe zero G. If you're somebody who is on or gaming, then maybe Maple Story, maybe Ronin, that just allow people to start building open source on Ronin, might be good. So like it really depends on what you like.
Right. So, as a project or a KOL or content creator ourselves, what do you say about being stubborn, or not stubborn, but more like, stick to the narrative that you want to go down? Or do you think being more flexible within the space is important?
So I believe you have to stick to what you like, but in the same time iterate it to be flexible based on what is relevant, right? So like if you like AI, then you can talk more about AI, but then you have also to be flexible to iterate, certain I would say stuff that you may be utilizing AI in a more fun way, and then you talk about it because like end of the day, even though you like certain types of writing, you also need to know what people want. It's not what you want, but what people want to read. So always establish yourself as, I would say, the top leader in that particular space. Like, I recently just got in touch with this friend of mine that I met in Hong Kong that does Web2 content, right? So
Yeah.
all of the content is not in Twitter, but it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, and she posts every day. And the top content that works for her is actually general AI stuff. So like ChatGPT, people utilizing AI tech. So she found that that is her narrative, which is not talking about Web3 blockchain, but talking about AI, AI agents in a more fun way, more general way, and that works for her. Like in 1 year, she grew her account to like 107K. The last I checked, so
No
it's
way.
amazing. Yeah.
1 year.
Yep, 1 year.
Fast. Okay, wow. Is she also within the Web3 space?
Say again, sorry.
Is she also within the Web3 space?
Yeah, she's in the Web3 space. That's why now she's like, okay, I already master Instagram. I want to
Mm.
master Twitter now.
Yeah. Yeah, like I just feel like nowadays content is king. So whether you are trying to build yourself, build a project, content is always the key to go. So maybe this question to you. How do you handle, because having content created for so many years, how do you handle feedback or criticism from your audience in your such niche field?
Yeah, so I think criticism is always there.
Mm.
But the whole goal is just to ignore them and continue churning out different content, right? So like I did not I believe one thing is like if people know me since last time, like in my Web2 days, they know that I'm not someone that is, outspoken, not someone that is in front of the camera. Like I swear I don't even take photos of myself, right? But ever since, coming into the space, trying out being in front of the camera, practicing yourself. I think end of the day, like nobody's perfect. You just got to do what you got to do to survive, right?
Was it hard for you to come out from your comfort zone and be in front of the camera?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, right? But then if you choose whether you want to stick to your old ways of doing content and be forgotten, or you want to come out from your comfort zone and be somebody, I think like the later sounds way better.
Yeah, no, that's true. Everyone gotta like get out from their comfort zone in order to actually, grow. So, what trend do you see, in terms of content wise? What trend do you see in the near future within the Web3 space? Yeah, would be, great.
I think like these days, honestly, there's no new, I would say, top tier KOLs on Twitter anymore. Like
Mm,
day in, day out, if you look at Twitter, it's only that few guys that is pushing out content day in, day out. So I think like the next wave is gonna be people that grows their Web2 social. So that's
mm,
why like we have this year itself, we double down for our Instagram account, our TikTok account, our YouTube Shorts account, and I think every 2 days we are churning out one videos for those platforms. So like for my focus, I think Web2 platform is still very credible. Web3 is something of like you gotta grow as well, but if you have Web2, the leverage is so much higher because people are sick of engaging the same KOL day in day out on Twitter and everything is like running dry. Just imagine like only you have like top 20 KOLs on Twitter, and everything people are paying them to talk about it. I think if this happens for one more year, this kind of KOLs has really been dried out all of their audience. And so people will be like, all right, so what's the next thing? The next thing is Web2 content creator that can actually get new people into the space. So I think that is very important.
yeah, yeah, agree on that. A question from JC, from the perspective of an online companion, like a creator from Play Friends, what kind of original content would you suggest?
Hmm. I think for me, right, just back of my head, I think cameo is something that people like, right? So
Mm,
it's like, I want to disturb my Web3 friend. Just say, just say JC is my friend, right? And I want to disturb him. I could get a content creator, a sexy one or a funny one, to write, talk about something and then comment it or maybe take the video and post it on Twitter and tag him. I think cameo is one that is gonna be fun. The second one that I think about it, companion, is it's always gonna be like end of the day, people still love PFP. People still love like NFT. So like if you could get some waifu stuff that people love, I think waifu stuff is always something good. People
oh,
like it. People will
yeah.
mint it.
Mhm.
So maybe get waifu stuff to kind of like create your core maybe 1,000 holders, and then have these 1,000 holders continue to kind of like engage in the platform, create content, using it as their, I would say, avatar to create videos, dancing videos, TikTok videos. I think those are also fun ways or original content that you could do. Last but not least, I think one more idea is like, these days, just imagine like you have an NFT, that NFT can become also an AI agent. And then that NFT can be an avatar for you to create video. That's one. The NFT can also be an AI agent where, you could use it to tweet for yourself funny stuff, and having utility for that PFP. I think like those are some of the ways that project can kind of like I would say get their core 1,000 fans into the thing. I think like end of the day people love PFP, and I see oftentimes like a lot of PFP, whether it's one bera, five bera, or even free mint, right? It's good, definitely will have the traction, but the program or the hard part comes after you have that 1,000 people. Is your funnel good enough to keep them engaged? That's where the utility comes.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good advice for a project and how we should actually onboard more people and keep the community and grow the community. Well, thank you, Pilo. So, guys, just so you know, you can always just ask more questions. Yeah, like double down. Like, oh, watch Double D. What's what Double D?
Typo, I was like waifu double D's. That's it.
Oh, waifu Double D. Oh, okay, waifu Double D. Got that.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, like if you go to OpenSea, you type waifu, you see all of the collection. Usually, is minted out.
Hmm. Yes. Okay.
Somehow, Web3 is linked to anime, waifu culture, cute kawaii stuff. Like people really dig it.
No, I actually agree though. Like with all this waifu kawaii stuff, it's actually a really big culture within the Web3 space. So yeah, actually a waifu NFT would could be the key to go. Not bad. Yes, Eris, it's your time to shine. Okay, right. So also maybe something that you can share to us, like what is the common mistake a new Web3 content creator should avoid?
I think the mistake is trying to copy people too much. So it really depends on what kind of content, right? If you are just writing threads, um, you can copy, but try to have your own original style to it. That's one. The second one is, guys, you gotta be consistent. Many times people say, "Hey, I want to do content." I hire them, give them some fee, and then ask them to churn out content. Maybe it's just twice a week, but after like maybe 3 4 weeks, they already stop it. So it's like you got to be consistent, because if you're not consistent, you never know which content hits. You can never test out new ideas, and that moment will never come for you. And for the longest time, you'll just become this endless loop of you wanting to be a content creator, not finding your own anger, and then after a few years, maybe you give up.
Yes, guys. So I guess consistency is the key. Well, guys, I know Puke Rainbow have told me earlier that he has to actually end the AMA a little bit slightly earlier today because he got some urgent errand to run. So, guys, I'm just gonna open the floor for last question. Anyone who wants to ask last question, here's your chance before you missed it. So, any question, just drop down in the comment section. All right, guys. So, being saying that she's not doing well under pressure. Well, like yeah. So I guess if everyone doesn't have too much question, just one last question from me to Puke. So I just want Puke, to give some advice for all of us here. If you want to start out content creation, um, or be in this space, just give us an advice how we can do to be as great as you.
I think one is like start having that list that I mentioned, and the next one is figure out what sort of content you want to churn. So for me, it's not writing threads. For me, it's podcasts, and then now I transition over to video content. So for yourself, like there's wide range of content. You got to think what content you want to do, and then start doing it.
Okay. Now, one last question from Eris. Is it better to start content creation in group, guild, or solo creator? Oops. Oh no,
Oh
I think he
no.
dropped. Oh, Aries, I did try to help you from the question. Maybe his dad rocked him. Oh gosh. Yeah, he just went out. Okay, let me just. Oh yeah, he just texted me saying that it disconnected. Well,
No.
guys. Oh no.
Yeah,
But
we're
guys,
tracing.
like for real, I hope he does he can come back, but like let me just share this with you guys while he's trying to get this done. um yeah, go to Twitter to follow Pukecast and Puke Rainbow. They do actually do AMAs actually every night, every day, yeah, 2 to 3 AMAs every day. So that is actually a really good way for you to start your Web3 content creation journey, because what they do is every day they onboard 2 to 3 um, founders from different projects, or they have different topics every day. So it's you know a very good place and resort for you guys to learn whatever you want within the Web3 space. So go follow them, follow Pukecast, follow Puke Rainbow. They have Twitter AMA every day, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So guys, that's a really good place for you to learn. And yeah, I guess he isn't gonna come in anymore because he is locked out. I don't know why, but he's actually locked out. So
Oh,
some
he said I'll be back. Admit.
yeah, actually
Is it the same?
he got locked. Hmm. Oh wait, yeah, that's him.
That's him? Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Pure Rainbow. Can you actually speak? Unmute your mic. I think he's trying to unmute it.
Oh,
Hi, Pew. Can you hear us? Can you speak? I think he's probably getting some technical issue from his end. He right, so he actually can't unmute from his end.
oh
Can you
no.
hear us though, Pew? Ah, he can hear. Well, I'm actually just telling them that, just to go follow Puke Rainbow, Pukecast. You guys do be doing Twitter Spaces every day, so it's also a good platform for everyone to go, learn more things about Web3 space. But yeah, so thank you so much, Pure Rainbow, for being our guest today, and sharing your time with us, sharing all your knowledge and also your experience with us. I'm pretty sure it's really helpful for everyone here. But yes, to answer your question, Aries, group is definitely better.
Hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I personally do believe group is definitely better. I mean, like, everyone always says, right, uh, more people, a group can always go further. But yes, appreciate of all of your time. Thank you, Pew. Thank you so much. I know you got an errand to run, so thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys. Yes, Paji, that's the best guess. Beast guess. Best guess. Okay. But like, yeah, guys, thank you guys. So yeah, any question you guys want to shoot Puke, always just DM him on his Twitter. I'm pretty sure he's really happy to help you guys around, anything related to Web3 content creation. Yeah, just shoot him a message, shoot him a DM. I'm pretty sure he will try his best to answer you guys. But again, guys, thank you so much for your time today. I hope this session is insightful for you as well. And yeah, don't give up the journey and the hustle and grinding for trying to be a content creator within the space because it's very much doable. So, thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great evening or day ahead. Thank you, Maki, for co hosting this with me.
Of course, of course. Thank you. And thank you for all the really, really interesting and necessary information.
Yes, that's all puke actually.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.